Hello and welcome to the office tour. I've been wanting to make this video for such a long time, but I've been waiting till everything is finished and perfect, and then I realized that's never actually going to happen. It's always evolving and changing. So let me just take you on a tour of my office and filming space as it is. Come on in. I've been making YouTube videos for about 8 years now, and this is the first time I've had a dedicated room that is just my office, just my filming space. So while I don't think you have to have your own room to film videos, I filmed over the years in lounge rooms, in dining rooms, in bedrooms, in any spaces that I could make clear and available to film in. It definitely helps you to get momentum going because the friction to set up and to start filming is so much less when you have a clean, clear space that's just dedicated for filming. So one of the best things about this room is that I can film from multiple angles, so I don't feel like I'm locked into one space and one background. If you don't know, I mostly make yoga videos, so I'm needing a space where I can put the camera far enough back to capture my whole body standing, and then sometimes with my arms above my head as well. I can film facing the couch. I've got another filming space next to the windows, and if I really wanted to, and I kept my desk as clear as it is today, I could film facing the desk as well. Sometimes I also film talking head videos as well, kind of like this one. So having the desk in the position that I have it in with the window right next to it means that I can also film those talking videos with my face facing the window, which makes for best lighting. So if you're setting up your space, I want you to think about how can you remove the friction between getting started and actually filming. If you have to set up your lights every time, it feels harder and you're less likely to do it. So while I have moved my lights out today to film all the B-roll footage of what this room looks like, usually my lights are always left up ready to go. So if it is a cloudy day like it happens to be today, I don't have to put them up. I don't have that friction of having to do that extra work. Yes, it only takes 10 to 15 minutes, but that 10 to 15 minutes is sometimes the thing that stops me from getting started. So where possible, I make sure that everything is set up and ready to go. So you might remember last year when we were going through that whole disaster house build saga, I was feeling really stressed and frustrated that we just had to wait. We were going through a legal battle to get our builder to go away because they weren't doing any building, and it was so incredibly stressful just being stuck in the waiting. So you may remember this project that I started, and that was a project to help me feel like I was doing something, like I was moving forward. I couldn't do anything on the house despite wanting to because we weren't allowed to come onto the property, even though we owned it. How ironic. But this project was really helpful in channeling that stress into and helping to distract me while we were in the waiting. In terms of how it's used in my office, you have to have closed storage in an office space if you're going to be filming. If I want to film in this direction, I can't have open shelves because could you imagine seeing all this junk behind me as I film? So this cupboard is so helpful in literally hiding all the crap that I need for filming. So all filming equipment. I also have a lot of books because I do a lot of reading around the topic that I'm sharing. So having closed storage has been a game changer, and it's like, it's all away. So if you are making your own office space, highly recommend having some closed storage. You don't have to DIY your own cupboard. All in all, I think this cupboard maybe cost me about $200, so $50 for the cupboard. And then I think the rattan was about $150, and then I bought the handles as well and the lacquer for the cupboard. So the honorable mention of this space has to be the two big windows. If you are thinking of a space to film, you've got to think about light. If you don't have studio lights, the window is the next best thing. And if I'm being honest, I'll choose to use the window lights over the studio lights any day. I just think it looks nicer. If you position yourself so that the window light is facing you, it gets rid of lines and eye bags, and it just makes the video look so much crisper and clearer. So if you are choosing a room to make into your filming space or your office, pick one that has beautiful natural light because it will make your videos so much better. And in case you needed proof, this is what happens if I turn around and face the other direction. Not so pretty. So welcome to my desk. I would love to say that it looks this clean and pristine all of the time, but that would be a flat out lie. I literally cleaned it 5 minutes before I filmed this video. I always have my computer, I always have my planner because that's where I keep all my video ideas and take notes and just get all of the chaos out of my brain. I also have a vision board up here which needs redoing. So as I was looking at it this morning and thinking I really need to do a new one of those, so many of the things on my vision board have come into real life, and I have actually made a video on this. So I'll leave that linked below if you want to know more about creating vision boards. But mostly I just love vision boards because they make me feel a certain way. When I sit down to work and I have a look at, yes, This is why I'm making videos week after week. This is why I'm spending my spare time doing this. It helps me stay focused on what it is I'm trying to create. And I think that really helps when you're a mom, when you've got minimal time. Sometimes you can feel like, why am I doing this again? Especially if you're not seeing the results that you want to see yet. And I find having a really clear vision of what you're working towards super helpful. So I highly recommend having in your office space or in the corner of your house that you're using as an office, having something up on the wall that really helps to inspire you and helps to keep you focused on what it is you're trying to create. So this seems like a really silly thing to emphasize, but having an office door, which I haven't had ever, and something that I can close when my kids are at home and I can still do some work, I could still film a yoga class, I could still have a one-to-one session. All of those things has made my work so much easier. In the past, when I've been filming in common spaces, it means I have to edit out those moments when my kids come in and interrupt or there's a fight going on. And as some of you may know who've had one-to-one sessions, sometimes we get interrupted by little people. But that's okay, and so many of you are so understanding because of the work that I do is centered around motherhood. You understand when motherhood interrupts my work. But for my own mental health and that separation between work and home, it's really nice to be able to shut the door, to feel like this is a workspace, I'm now at work, and then to leave this space and shut the door and feel like I have finished work, as opposed to feeling like when I'm at home, I always need to be working because the two spaces are just so completely entwined. So if you can, see if you can have a designated space that is just for work, and then try not to work in other spaces, because it does kind of mess with your head. You feel like when you're sitting on the couch, oh, I should be doing some work, I should be editing a video, instead of letting yourself have that downtime, spending it with your partner or spending it with your kids. That separation has been really helpful for me and is also one of the reasons why I'm actually working to create a space outside of the house. So we are putting in a shed just below the house, and I have visions for a yoga studio and a filming space that has a big glass wall on the back of it overlooking the mountains and the valley and the river, which is just so exciting, and I can't wait. And also because it will mean that I'll be able to walk out my front door, go to my workspace, and then walk back and really have that separation and divide between home and work, which is really something that I've been missing over the last 8 years. And then finally, I wanted this room to work as a spare bedroom as well, but I didn't want to put a bed in here because I didn't want it to take up all the filming space. I didn't want to have to pack up the bed in order to film. Remember, friction. I need that to be removed to make filming super easy so that I can just walk in here, turn the lights on, turn the camera on, and get started. So I chose to buy a sofa bed, and in the past, I have hated sofa beds. There's nothing worse than sleeping on those horrible springs, but I found this one from Koala, which folds out. There's no springs. It is so comfortable. It comes with this really luxe mattress topper, and everyone who sleeps on it says it's the most comfortable thing ever. And because this is my favorite room in the house, I love that I can offer it as a space for my guests to sleep in when they come over, and it's just a beautiful, calming retreat space to come to. I also really love having a couch in my office because it gives me yet another space to film from, but also to work from. Often at the end of the day, you'll find me here, cross-legged, sitting with my laptop doing editing, and I prefer that to sitting at the desk at the end of the day, though at the start of the day, I really like starting at the desk, feeling like, right, I'm in business, I'm sitting at my desk. So I like that this room gives me lots of options, and that really is my favorite thing about having a room of my own dedicated to work. I've set it up so there are multiple filming spaces, multiple spaces to work from, and multiple floor space so that I can also practice yoga. You'll find me in this room most mornings doing about 20 to 30 minutes of my own personal yoga practice, and I love that this space feels like a calming yoga retreat. My kids will be in the room next door watching TV, having breakfast, doing all the things, but I can come into the space, turn my music up, chill out, and have that time for me, which feels so good. As I said, our next focus is putting in that shed and using some of it as a yoga studio, and I can't wait to have a designated teaching space again at home. So if you're interested in that and would like to follow along as we build and design that space, let me know in the comments, because I can definitely make more videos if that's something you want to see. I just can't wait to be teaching in person again. It's something I really miss since we moved away from the coast, but it's just not really practical with family life at the moment. So filming and teaching online is where it's at for me in this season, but I can see as my kids get older and as they're more able to look after themselves in the house, I can easily duck down to the shed, teach a class, and come back and only be missing for an hour, and that feels really good for me. So I'm super excited to see how this space will evolve, but also the new space. Let me know if you have any questions about setting up your own space, whether that's to film yoga classes like me or other types of videos. You can leave any questions in the comments, and I'll see you next time.